Hi there, I'm Square, and let's talk about anime. This week's Yashahime episode, number 17, was a two-parter. This feels so long overdue. I don't know about everyone else, but I have seen a lot of people in the community being dismayed at the pacing so far of the entirety of Yashahime. But now we finally have a story that wasn't wrapped up and tied in a bow in 30 minutes. I have a lot to say about the pacing, mostly good things, yay, of this particular episode and the story arc presented here. But first, let's go for a quick recap of what happened in this episode. This time, we have a lot of setup, and we see some of these plans being placed into motion way at the beginning. We first see Riku meeting up with Jubei and receiving a pearl back from him. From there, Riku heads off to where Konton is setting up a spell field trap thing. After a little bit of discussion, Riku convinces Konton to use Totetsu, the other remaining peril, as part of his plan to trap the Yashahime. We then switch off to said girls and see Toa and Setsuna trying to seek out the dream butterfly yet again, but again, no luck. Later, they're found by Moroha with Riku in tow. Riku has some information on where Totetsu is. How lucky! So let's go get him! But Toa and Setsuna don't seem really into the idea until Riku mentions a rumor he heard that Kirinmaru and the dream butterfly are related in some way. And one way to get to Kirinmaru is through his perils. This immediately gets Toa's attention, and off we go to seek out Totetsu. The girls confront Totetsu, who baits them into chasing after him. After a long chase, they end up in a ravine with high cliffs and unknowingly pass through a magical barrier which separates them. Toa and Setsuna end up in a field with a tree in the distance. As they travel towards the tree, nothing seems to be moving. They don't seem to be getting any closer or further away from their target. Moroha is left alone in a ravine that grows around her as she tries to climb up, and is eventually attacked by demons. All three girls are stuck in Konton's trap. They each try different ways to break the spell, which leads Toa to realize they're pretty much in a Mobius strip, and in order to escape, they need to break the circle. Toa and Setsuna then team up and use their clan's power, being able to sense rifts where demon energies clash, and are able to break through the illusion. We end the episode with the twins confronting Konton and a huge cliffhanger. I have to say, I really enjoyed this episode. While there are a few things that didn't quite work, the girls were a bit too naive, didn't sense any of the traps, didn't notice any of the magical barriers, little things like that. The overall effect and pacing was stellar. This is what I've been wanting from the series. Some time to build up the story, build that tension, let the characters breathe. In my opinion, this is the episode that felt the most like the original Inuyasha series, and that is definitely a good thing. The slower pace really gave us a good view of Riku as a character. Riku's been interesting for a while, and he's someone we've discussed on this channel before, and there's a lot more insight into him as a whole from this episode. He seems to be a master manipulator. Now, this is something we saw signs of before in past episodes, but this is blatantly in our face in episode 17. Riku manipulates Konton into teaming up with Totetsu while feigning how weak he is. He manipulates Moroha into following him to chase down a peril. He manipulates Toa and Setsuna into coming along by linking Kirinmaru to the dream butterfly, even though it's just a rumor. We see him lie with a straight face, acting convincingly to hide his strength, and thinking up exactly what to say on the fly to get his way. And Riku is seriously coming across as a puppet master. But the question I have now is, to what end? He said before he doesn't care about the Rainbow Pearl, so that probably isn't anything to do with his overall plan. Jubei seems aware of Riku's plan. And so far, Jubei has come across as a pretty true neutral character, I'd say. He doesn't seem particularly good or evil, more like he's motivated by his own self-interest. So if he's supporting Riku, or at the very least is neutral to Riku's plans, that makes me think what Riku's trying to do isn't necessarily world-ending. Jubei doesn't come across as a character who's okay with helping someone kill him off, just saying. My theory, I think this all ties back to what Riku said back in episode 8. He only kills who he loves. If that's the case, if he hates someone, he may have to manipulate others to kill that someone for him. That would explain why he hasn't killed the Four Perils. He hates them, so he won't kill them. And who else has he said he dislikes? Well, the character who's been built up this entire series, Kiranmaru. Now, there are some theories floating around that Riku and Kiranmaru are related. Theories that I've subscribed to as well. A lot of us are thinking they're probably father and son. There's a lot of evidence that supports this idea, so even though it's not for sure revealed yet, I'm gonna run with that idea a little bit. So what would happen if Kiranmaru dies? Kiranmaru is currently the Lord of the Eastern Lands. With his death, wouldn't that leave his next of kin, perhaps Riku, as the new Lord? Now, Riku doesn't come across as too power hungry, but he does give off the feeling that he's someone who holds a grudge. Having someone killed and then taking their position would be a pretty cold way of taking revenge. And that leads me to wonder still, why does Riku have so much hatred for the Perils and Kiranmaru in the first place? Riku could only kill those he loves. Who has he killed in the past that he loves and why? I'm thinking there's all these little bits floating around that will eventually be tied together. I'm thinking Riku wants Kiranmaru dead. That seems pretty clear to me. Now the why is the next big question. And perhaps we'll get answers soon. As for this week's art, I ended up settling on Riku. And it's kind of great how the subject of the art matches up with the subject of the episode. A little serendipitous that way. I'm happy. Thanks so much for the suggestions in the comments of the last video. That really helped me solidify my position. I was thinking about him, but when it was suggested, I'm like, yeah, definitely. That's the top tier of my list that I think needs to have a button. Plus, I really wanted to try drawing him. With his personality, it really leads itself to interesting facial expressions. So I tried to show a little bit of the conniving nature that he seems to have within this little cutesy kind of face. This makes 4 buttons in total. So next week, I'll be creating the last for my set. And the timing lines up super well with this channel's first milestone. We're almost at 100 followers. So thank you so much for all of your support. I've been having so much fun making videos and it feels so good to know others are enjoying them too. I'm trying to figure out the details of doing an actual physical button set giveaway once we reach that milestone. I'd love to give something back to you all who've been putting a smile on my face these last few months. Once I figure it out, maybe I'll make a video on it. I'll mention at the end of a video, something like that, but I want to do something. But for now, I'll wrap things up by asking you to do those YouTube things. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends. Anything else really helps the channel. I'm also still been streaming and that's been going pretty well. I've been having fun playing some games. I've been drawing. So if you want to join me, schedule's right here. I also have been streaming at various other weird times. So if you follow me on Twitch, you'll be able to know when I'm active. For now, I want to again thank you for joining me today and please have an artsy